Welcome to CMMC Unacknowledged, where we answer the unanswered questions that were asked during the monthly CMMC-AB Townhall meetings. My name is Todd Stanton. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for all things CMMC at Etactics, and as always, I'm joined by Ty Wittenberg. Ty is the Senior Information Assurance Manager at Rain Associates. Welcome, Ty.
Hey, Todd. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Our question for this episode, Ty, is we heard a lot about what the CMMC-AB was doing to prepare the ecosystem for CMMC rulemaking in the opening town hall of 2022. What were the takeaways that you heard?
Yeah, so that town hall meeting was pretty enlightening for me, right? In particularly around the certified cybersecurity maturity model certification professionals, the continued training going on. Some conversation specifically around if you had done a lot around the practices for the Delta 1.0, that the CMMC-AB was going to be providing some additional free training for you for the 2.0, just to make sure that you were in good shape there. The other thing that I found incredibly interesting, Todd, was the maturation of the CMMC accreditation body, which when I'm talking about maturation is now the professional staffing over day-to-day operations versus the loosely put together board of directors and volunteers, critical volunteers for that matter, that help get it up off the ground. So a lot of the professional growth and staffing has come from those folks that have been a part of that volunteer force that are now flipping over and helping. So I don't think we'll lose anything in step for what's going on there. If anything, it'll generate more momentum. The other thing that was really interesting was around the finalizing and publishing of the Dod Approved Documentation, particularly around 800-171, and then some conversations around them working towards their ISO accreditation. So as they work through that and they get to their particular point, then there'll be an expectation for us as organizations that are seeking to become certified third-party assessors, that then we become ISO accredited. So I thought that was all enlightening information for registered provider organizations and those organizations that were seeking C3PAO certification.
And so on that documentation aspect, I think that what we're waiting on still is really the assessment process, right? The CMMC assessment process, or as they abbreviate it, CAP. The equivalency policy between FedRAMP for MSPs and CSPs, and then the dispute resolution process. I think the POAM would be rolled into the assessment process, I believe, that POAM policy of which practices would be allowed to be incorporated onto a POAM versus which need to be met at the time of the assessment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the equivalency policy? What do you think that the outcome will be? Will they say for anybody that's FedRAMP, approved and listed in the FedRAMP marketplace, that those, will be considered equivalent for CMMC, and those cloud service providers or MSPs that are listed in the FedRAMP marketplace won't need to, have their own CMMC certification?
This is purely my opinion and speculative. I don't have, preview into what's going on at the DoD and stuff like that, but FedRAMP is a much more mature process right now than the CMMC certification is. And so if I were to speculate, I would think that those would be things that would ramp you up relatively quickly. Will they actually take that as approval? I would hope so. But it's hard to say at this particular point, as people want to put their own particular spin and also make sure the controls are in place for safeguarding, controlling classified information, and safeguarding, national security with information that's out there for these particular projects and defense industrial base that are working on them for the government. So all speculative, but I would say because of the maturation of FedRAMP, I would think there'll probably be some reciprocity there.
Okay. And lastly, what I heard at the very end of both the December town hall and the January town hall was this interest from Matthew Travis to, improve the brand recognition and really, within the DIB, the incentives for organizations that will be seeking certification to start going through that process now and really, start planning and engaging the RPO consulting community. And I just thought it was interesting that in December, they talked about rebranding their website. And then in January, he talked about hiring a marketing agency to kind of promote CMMC within the DIB. What are your expectations in terms of, what they would be able to accomplish to those ends?
So, Matt Travis is a very engaged figure for the CMMC-AB. Not to say that other folks weren't. He participated and spoke at an event at Walsh University that we were collaborative in putting on around the CMMC Summit. And so that branding and that getting the word out has always been sort of a theme for the CMMC, but hasn't been fully driven, I think, until his joining the organization. And so I think it's going to be critical for organizations seeking certification to know about the marketplace, for them to revamp that website definitely so that it's the user experience is much more friendly in the querying and things like that. I think he's on the right path. I think the CMMC AB as a whole is on the right path with that marketing and branding. You can have a great solution out there around trying to bring protective controls in place. However, you have to, if nobody knows about it, which has been probably one of the biggest things that both you and I have heard, it's for naught. So I think they're on the right path. I'll be interested to see what happens with the website revamp and also how their marketing goes out from this point on.
Yeah, I think, when it comes to the marketplace, that's certainly a feature that is lacking today. If I'm an organization seeking certification, I'm looking for a consultant in Columbus, Ohio. That feature to search the marketplace is cumbersome, I guess. There's really no way on the marketplace to do it. However, I will say a workaround that I figured out is if I use Google to, in quotations, incorporate the domain for that marketplace, and then incorporate a search word with the territory I'm looking for, I've been able to successfully Google search the marketplace. But having that ability to search within and say I want a RPO for this territory, I think would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that you're doing is a skill set for people that know how to navigate Google and do some specific querying there to get information, right? There's a whole subset of that in the cybersecurity field around being able to find through them open source intelligence of things that might be exposed, right? However, for good, like you're doing, but more importantly, search engine optimization and things like that, as they go through the revamping, search engine optimization, SEO, some people call it. I'm sure whatever they do in the marketing that makes it easier for an organization to use some keywords that make sense to them and link back to the CMMC-AB will be critical in easing the flow of information and understanding, I guess, out there of folks searching for knowledge and looking for ways to connect or find resources to help their organization.
And so if somebody listening today was looking for an RPO in the Ohio marketplace, how could they find you?
So we are definitely on the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification AB website in the marketplace. But also if you typed in registered provider organization or cyber consulting, Ray would pop up for that as well.
Okay. Well, I encourage anyone who is out there looking for a consultant in the space to talk through your readiness for CMMC. Reach out to Ty and his team at Ray & Associates. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd.